So I decided to make a game.
But Danielus, you don't know anything about making games.
Oh, shut up!
Sure, I have never tried building a game myself, and my coding skills are total garbage. But I have 3 secret weapons that will help me to learn and to build a game quite fast. ChatGPT, Google, and
coffee.
I knew that I wanted to make a 2D game, and after doing some research, it seemed that the best way to make a 2D game was to use the Unity engine.
For 2D games, I can be really short and precise. Pick Unity. Just do it.
Okay, let's do it. Blah, blah, blah.
What is this place?
Next, I had to learn how to use Unity. And while there are a lot of great resources online, I decided to go with a course by Rick Davidson and Gary Patty that was recommended by Pontypants.
How's it going, everyone?
And this course was great. First, I made a guy.
It's a masterpiece.
Then a car, then a snowboarder, then a platformer, then a quiz game, and then I stopped doing the course. Why? Well, my goal was to make a game, and at that point I felt that I had a pretty good handle on Unity and C#.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
Don't get me wrong, my Unity skills were still total garbage, and I would constantly forget where to put the semicolon. Damn you semicolons! But I think that the best way to learn how to make something is to actually try making that thing.
Trying is the first step towards failure.
And I think that I was ready to make a game of my own, even if it was going to be rather uncomfortable and difficult. And it was. The goal was to make a game that I enjoyed, and my favorite games have 3 things in common: a good story, good gameplay, and good style. When it comes to the gameplay, I decided to borrow the mechanics from a small game that I really loved as a kid called Gold Miner.
I need to borrow this and this.
And the main mechanic there is that you need to shoot your hook at the correct time to catch the gold nuggets. When it comes to this story, I think that some of the best stories are grounded in reality. So I thought it would be fun to make a game not about a gold miner, but about a crypto miner.
So what's up, big gunner?
Lastly, when it comes to style, I decided to go with 2 things: vaporwave and
Memes.
like a true nerd, I documented my plan in a Notion page with all the tasks and to-do lists, and then I made a rough prototype in Figma. Yes, I know, it looks fabulous. Next, I needed some sprites. I tried making those with Midjourney, but they looked really bad, which meant that I had to either pay an artist or to make those myself. Since I'm a poor scrub with no money, I had to go with the latter. I wanted to make the main character look like a stonks man from the 80s, basically a guy who buys a fancy suit although he has no money. I didn't want to make the sprites too elaborate at first, just something to get me started. And yes, I know these sprites do not look so good, but come on, it's art, we can have different perspectives. With the initial sprites done, I knew that the time has come to begin coding. Come on, of course I didn't code anything myself. I just went back to the course and copy-pasted the code from there. After removing some of the redundant parts, I was done with the movement code. And as you can see, it worked perfectly. Okay, it didn't work perfectly. But after some googling, thanks to a user by the name of Letty, I learned that all I needed to do was to freeze the Z-axis. And it worked. It was awesome.
A great success!
Next, I needed to add the claw, and it was not so awesome. You might think that all you need to do is just to make a line that extends and then pulls up an object. Easy, right? Spoiler alert, it was not easy. So basically the process looked like this. You watch tutorials, copy-paste the code, get some errors. Then you fix the errors, it still doesn't work. You Google for help, it still doesn't work. You read documentation, it still doesn't work. You ask ChatGPT for help, it still doesn't work. And then you repeat the cycle. Tutorials doesn't work. Googling doesn't work. Documentation doesn't work. ChatGPT doesn't work. And then you repeat the cycle again. Tutorials, Googling, documentation, ChatGPT. And then you black out for about 10 hours. You wake up and it works. You have no idea why it works, but it works and you do not care, because deep in your heart, you know that if you look at that pile of crap of code that you wrote, you will have to spend another precious 10 hours of your life or more just trying to understand how it works. And I was not going to do that. Next, I wanted to spice things up and add some style. For inspiration, I watched a bunch of excellent videos about Vaporwave. Polygon Donut had an especially amazing video. Next, I used Midjourney to upgrade the level 1 background and added some palms and Greek statue stuff. And it looked a lot better, but our Stonks character with his dark suit is now looking out of place. So I decided to upgrade his looks as well. At first I tried using AI and my Photoshop skills, however it did not work. But then I came up with this great idea. What if I went into GTA 5, took a bunch of pictures of Michael, and then used those pictures as a basis for our Stonks character? And that's exactly what I did, and our Stonks guy started looking like a real crypto entrepreneur.
2 words. Entrepreneurship.
I even added a small Vaporwave-styled mining rig to bring it all together. Now the game looked rather good, but the gameplay was boring. It was just an exact clone of Gold Miner, where you just pull up stuff with your claw within the time limit. I wanted to improve that and to make it more engaging, so I decided to add 2 things: enemies and guns. The natural enemy of cryptocurrencies is of course real money and the deep state. So I made a bunch of Illuminati pyramids that would shoot dollar bills at our Stonks guy.
By the way, the Illuminati is real.
And I added 2 main ways to defend against the enemies. First, the Fibonacci gun that would automatically shoot at the pyramids. Secondly, I added a way to dodge the enemy bullets by rolling like in Dark Souls or the Gungeon.
They call it the roly-poly.
I also made some improvements to the claw mechanics. I added a way to speed up and to slow down the claw so that picking up various objects would be faster, and I also added a laser that would help to aim the claw better. Of course, it would be quite boring if you had all of these abilities available to you from the beginning of the game, so I added a shop where you could use your hard-earned buttcoin to buy and upgrade the abilities of your character. With all of these improvements, the game became a lot more fun. In fact, I started spending a lot more time playtesting the game than actually developing it, which was not good. With the gameplay and style mostly in place, the time has come to add some story.
Oh. Story time?
There is nothing better than a good underdog story, so meet Jeff, a guy who is at rock bottom, broke, divorced, and uneducated. But then one day, he sees a crypto ad with Matt Diamond and decides that mining crypto is a way to turn around his life. So he embarks on a glorious Bitcoin mining quest. I'm not going to spoil this story for you. You will have to play the game if you want to experience it. But I have to admit that I was not super creative. I decided to use just a bunch of cutscenes to tell you the story. So as you move from level to level, you will learn more and more of the story. Of course, every good story that has a hero also has to have a bad guy. Austin Powers has Dr. Evil.
Mr. Evil. Dr. Evil.
I didn't spend 6 years in evil medical school to be called Mr. Thank you very much.
Batman has Joker, and our man Jeff has Jerome Powell, the guy who's in charge of the US Federal Reserve. This guy symbolizes everything that crypto people do not like. So of course, I had to make Mr. Powell the final boss of the game. As a main sprite for Powell, I used this really cool meme by Tim Van Helsingen. Sorry if I messed up your name. I also added a bunch of really cool attacks to this final boss. To be honest, ChatGPT made the whole process extremely easy. I gave a bunch of my friends to playtest this game, and of course, they found a way to cheese the final boss. But don't worry, I fixed the bugs, or at least most of them, and now the game is published.
We did it! We did it! We did it! We did it!
It was a really fun learning project, but it took way longer than I expected. In fact, according to Track Guilds, it took me 167 hours to make this game, which ended up being about 3 months of work because I was doing this part-time. I have 3 main takeaways from this learning project. First, do not try to be perfect. I think it's better to finish something and publish it than trying to be perfect and achieving nothing in the end. Secondly, use AI tools when you're learning or making something. I used ChatGPT, GitHub Copilot, Midjourney, 11 Labs, and honestly, all of these things all together saved me about 100 or 200 hours of my time, which is huge. And lastly, if you want to make a game with no experience, it's gonna take a lot of time. Or maybe I'm just stupid, so maybe that's why it took me so long. If you like this video, you should subscribe to my learning newsletter. And also, you should check out my other video on how I made a boat out of duct tape. Thanks!